are around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the right to choose it. There ain't no way we'll lose it. This is our life. This is our song. We'll fight the powers that be, just don't pick your destiny, because you don't know us, you don't belong. Oh, we're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore. Oh, you're so condescending.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Just felt like that was a more
appropriate,
apropos song to welcome you all to the show.
Welcome in.
Not one I'm looking forward to doing, but one that absolutely is necessary. I'm Ash. He's Brent, commander in the corner. Nobody was commander in the corner. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland.
JP picked up on the Twisted Sister.
He is a Twisted Sister.
Great folks at AT Deerland Hay Feed and Ranch Services. Stop on by, get your bail on.
I put it down yesterday. I had it put down yesterday.
Oh,
I have teenagers.
You have
I emphasize
illegal labor from Korea.
Yeah. They built some batteries in the morning, put down some Balon in the afternoon. 72 degrees in Victoria under partly cloudy skies, heading to a high today of 91. Yeah, he put it down. It's a really granular, kind of a rust-colored product. It goes down. It's kind of
in a drop spreader.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy. And it works. I tell you what, there's one spot in the front yard that wants to pop clover, and it takes until the middle of June for the St. Augustine to choke it out. I put it down there, and then I put it down the back because the doodles and the grass burrs don't work.
No, not at all.
Together.
Stephanie Connie, Mark Kurtz, Greg Garcia on the podium this morning. Thanks for tuning in and joining in. Ricky King, Micah Patton. Good morning, Marina.
Hi, Marina.
Scott Tomko, Andy Rokovich.
Hi,
Marina
Marina.
Scherer, Marvin Mickish, Junior Sample, Scott Snow, Lisa Poole, Judge Posey. Good morning. Bobby Leister on a post-Caldo Wednesday. Linda Christ. Monty Howard, Justin Glass, Jordan Glass, Jarrett McCrugan, good morning. Tammy Keeling, John Hull, Tammy Williams, John Anderson.
Hey, good morning, John.
Andrew Alvarez checking in. Glad you're all here. Good morning, folks. Jeff Finley.
Hey, Jeff.
A lot of things being overshadowed because of what took place in Orem, Utah yesterday, and a lot of irony in what happened with Charlie Kirk. I mean, obviously, probably one of the most conservative states in the country in some regards is Utah.
Yeah, friendly audience. He's at a friendly place.
Should have been. Yep. Apparently, there was one that wasn't. And I'm not convinced this wasn't a hired hit, or at least organized by the left. And for someone on, and I'm. Couple of things that jump out on this. Places, institutions of higher education founded way back by the Greeks as a place to debate, exchange ideas, really the birthplace of the marketplace of ideas. The irony of him being shot on a college campus is not lost upon me and killed. Anybody who says that he incited violence never listened to Charlie Kirk at all. He's a guy who never, ever got angry, went courageously onto college campuses, unscripted. You and I can hang up on a caller if we don't like them. We don't, but we could.
Well, he went into situations, it seemed to me, where he was, 90% of the folks were against him, if you will, and he would have a rational conversation with them. And it turned into the point where he was going places like Utah, where 99% of the people were there to see him and hear his comments, as opposed to, he welcomed the liberal debate, but he even got to the point where he sat down. He didn't stand up on a dais and look down on people. He just had a chair, had a conversation. If you wanted to talk to him, you could talk to him. I knew he was a young guy. He's been around for years now. He was 31 years old, wife, 2 kids, and gone. Immediately, Ash, they had a guy like detained, and it didn't take long. I was watching live on Fox, and they were talking, and a middle-aged guy, at least late 40s, said, "Oh, they've made a mistake. I know the guy they've got." This was like there were some local folks there. He goes, "No, I know that guy. That guy didn't kill anybody. No kidding." On Fox, it was kind of refreshing. Good morning, Carter. How are you, buddy? They had the camera up, and you'd hear the reporter say, "Can you move a little bit to your left?" He goes, "I'd like to get the mountains in the background." Sure. Tell us your name, because I want to make sure. And he said, "Tell us what you know." And he said, "Well, that guy that they've got," and he named him. He said, "Ash, I know that guy. They'll let him go in a minute. He's not the guy. He didn't shoot anybody." And sure enough, they did. They had a picture. I feel bad for the gentleman, in fact, because he was wearing like a blue shirt. You saw him, right? Kind of what the hair he had was gray. And they had him down, his arms behind him. And
I heard somebody pulled his pants down to keep him from running.
Yeah, but he wasn't involved in any way and was cleared. But it's interesting, because it leads me to think there could have been, like, this guy could have been set up to be caught. It could have been an organized hit, like you said. And, interesting. Very interesting. I don't know what, I don't know what's going to come of it. I do think if you shift gears and think about it politically, I think it just completely sinks the left in the midterms. I do. I think that the right, when the dust settles, you'll see the right politicize his death, and it'll sink the left.
All the leftists have done in the wake of this is completely gaslight half of America in that Charlie Kirk incited violence. Never heard him call for violence at all. In fact,
was Maxine Waters,
among others. Blow up the White House, Madonna. Charlie Kirk sat under a tent. In fact, go back and watch his first few videos. He sat on a folding chair and a table that he would take to campus.
Little fold-out white table.
And if you look at the anger towards what he was doing, it was from those that disagreed with his viewpoints. They would get angry. They would yell. They would interrupt. They would talk over. They would become red in the face and irate because they realized, I think, that their points were being completely shredded.
Just dissected with logic and truth.
This is why the left wants your guns, folks, and my guns and your guns. Because then they can kill those who they disagree with. The fascists are the left. Stop listening to their rhetoric. What they are accusing the right of being and doing, they are doing it.
Yep. No, Andrew Alvarez, you're right. I'll tell you my fear, and we just talked to you openly about how we think things end up being affected. I think things like this, situations like this, situations like the racially motivated stabbing of the Ukrainian woman on the train, or the racial implications of it. We don't know. That guy was crazy. We don't know what he was thinking. I believe you're going to start to see. I do not support this. I'm just telling you what I think. You're going to start to see vigilante type, conservative uprisings. I think my brain. I don't know why. I don't really know all the right answers about this. I go back to like people like Timothy McVeigh, who we all agree was a nut. It was terrible that he blew up a building in Oklahoma, but it was orchestrated, by a guy that you would deem as a conservative guy. Sadly, you're going to see more and more of that type of stuff. I don't think that's good. I think that's what you're going to see. At some point, I believe you'll see, because I think the radical left is a terrorist group, just domestic terrorists.
How do you define them, though? That's the problem.
Voting records.
Voting records.
Just voting records.
Yeah, I don't. That one's tough.
Yep. No, I agree.
But the fact that they're silencing those that they don't, or trying to, and they've tried to silence this program.
Oh yeah, much lesser degree, but yes.
Yeah.
They,
but remember the old adage, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me."
No, we've never heard that in Texas. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's interesting.
We've and words can hurt. Don't get me wrong. Most words don't. They only have the power you ascribe those words to hurt you. In most cases.
Yeah, I've found through the years, if you say a word to me simply to enrage me, it just exposes your ignorance. I think if I was I would hope that if I were a black man, I'd like to be taller and be able to jump. But if I were a black man and you decided to use the dreaded N word towards me, I would hope I would laugh at you. I go, really? That's the best you've got? That's the best you've got? And I think that was shaped in my youth. The original Billy D. Williams, James Caan, Brian's song, when James Caan was trying to motivate Gale Sayers, when Brian Piccolo was trying to motivate Gale Sayers to work harder, he called him the N-word. And Sayers' wife came down the stairs and they were both laughing. And she said, "What's so funny?" And because she hadn't heard her husband laugh in a long time, and said, Brian called me and I just thought I would hope that's how I would be. The idea that people can yell at you or disagree with you and that it really hurts your feelings is a mental weakness on your part. You can disagree with me all you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Chances are.
And things like this, the topics that he was covering, Charlie Kirk didn't attack anybody.
No.
Personally. He attacked ideas, thoughts, movements from the left politically. But this is where we are. This has been going on for decades in this country. It started with the politically correctness of the 90s. Has turned into the cancel culture of the 2000s.
Tammy Williams nails it. She says, "I think Republicans have been tolerant of the left's radical views. Most of us just laugh them off. Now we are offended to the highest. They are dangerous. but we are smart dangerous. And I agree. And I think there's going to be moments in this country where the left is going to reap what it has sown. And I think that's going to be an ugly, ugly thing to see. At the end of the day, if it actually were to spill into the streets, the left would be destroyed because the left is weak.
I don't think it will.
I hope it doesn't. Because cooler heads will prevail. I hope. So,
But
we'll see.
You know, and the fact that this took place again on a college campus where leftist ideologues have basically started taking control of the thought process of our youth.
Well, one of the last places you would ever expect, for example, still to me, one of the most conservative places on the planet is College Station, Texas. And you've got right now, they're in an academic upheaval at the main flagship campus in College Station. The president, Mr. Welsh, I think it's Mike Welsh, the third, is being accused of being openly extreme leftist with his radicalized teaching. There's a children's literature class, and a professor was called on the carpet for espousing LGBTQ, whatever they are, ideals in children's books. And it's like you're teaching future school teachers, and A&M has been accused of indoctrinating these kids in that way.
They just fired a bunch of professors and I think a dean for not teaching what they said they were going to be teaching.
I just can't help but think, and this is no slight to A&M at all, I can't help but think that that's kind of like, we're going to fire your defensive coordinator and you better straighten up the program. I think that this goes to the level where Glenn Hager is going to have to lop off some big heads. Like I'm not going to be surprised if Texas A&M doesn't have a new president soon. And
but here's the difference. Those who are standing up and complaining and demanding action aren't going on to campuses and shooting the people they disagree with.
That's right. Nobody's walking into a classroom in College Station and shooting a professor over it. It's just, that's not what conservatives do. Very interesting, though, that's happening. You know, we've long, and the problem is, or a problem is, it feeds into the stereotype that we all dwell with, that colleges are all liberal. You know, look, even A&M is liberal, you know, and that's unfortunate because most of my conservative friends went to Texas A&M. So I'm certainly not condemning the system at all, but I do think that it's been reported and is well known. In fact, the Texas Scorecard has an article today about the fact that this Welsh gentleman was known to be leftist before he was instilled as president at Texas A&M.
And you would have thought, like, well, yeah, but I mean, honestly, where do you find a non-leftist in higher ed?
True. That's where do you find a conservative in higher ed?
They're few and far between, and most don't speak out because they're afraid of what might happen.
Well, and don't get past the fact that it's a long-term play for them. The dismantling of American ideals is a long-term play of the left. They've been willing to. It's exactly the same as you're seeing the second wave of, now you've got the Muslims and the, you know, for lack of the, I mean, it's derogatory, but the towel heads are now getting involved in local politics and in state politics. And it's that second wave of America dismantled The left comes in and they do it from the academic side. They indoctrinate the teachers. America's bad. If you're white, you're bad. America was built by slave owners. We're bad. We need to apologize for everything. And if you don't feel that way, then you're a white supremacist and you're a fascist and you're bad. Capitalism is bad because some people go broke.
Colonization of European settlers is terrible, but they completely ignore the Ottoman Empire and the colonization basically there, right? Too far back. It only ended because World War I stopped them.
There you go.
We're not going that far back, but it's the lines of where they do this stuff. But the New York Times yesterday, even in the wake of this, you would think they would they can't tone down their rhetoric. I mean, at 3:18 Eastern. So, I mean, Charlie Kirk was shot about 2:00 is when I first heard about it. So, 18 minutes later, Charlie Kirk, right-wing influencer, shot at event in Utah.
Yeah, he's a right-wing influencer. Is that really how you would sum that guy up? He's a right-wing influencer.
And then when he dies, Charlie Kirk, right-wing activist, now he's an activist, is fatally shot at a Utah college. So the New York Times...
Why not pacifist, conversationalist? Why not that? And
because the mainstream media has divided us from between right and left. You can't have a conversation and have a differing view without being labeled anymore.
The left very quiet. The left very quiet because they've got no leg to stand on. You hear people. I have read of some folks on social media saying, "Well, isn't it funny? He kind of reaped what he sowed."
Yeah,
he was all pro Second Amendment. Very interesting. It is 9/11, 24 years ago today. Bad people did bad things.
Ricky King asks if it's lost on us that this attack on the killing of Charlie Kirk happened the day before. We talked a little bit about that beforehand. No,
we talked about that this morning.
I don't, maybe because it's taking away from what 9/11, how 9/11 brought this country together.
John Paul with a good point. College teachers and admin are liberal, not the university or students. A&M has the largest student college Republicans group.
Good point.
And it's a central point because it was really just the rule following student who took the time to have her cell phone out and questioned this professor and said, I don't want to be involved in this. Number one, I think it's against the law. Number two, I know that it's against our president's, being Donald Trump, our president's wishes for college campuses. And the professor basically, I need you to leave my classroom. You're disrupting my classroom. So she left. And then the university, I don't know if I told you this, the university reached out to this young woman and said, hey, look, we don't really want you to go back to that class. She said, well, I want to go back to class. I need the credit, and I want the teacher to teach based on what A&M says they're going to teach. And they said, no, how about you don't go back, and we'll just give you the grade you have currently, which apparently was an A.
Wow, 3 weeks in.
We'll give you the grade you have currently for the semester.
I would have taken that deal.
No, I would have taken it too. Sure. Especially if it's like an 8:00 in the morning class, I'd be like bagging in. But the point is, the university tried to bribe her to shut her up. That's what they did systemically. And I have the utmost confidence in Chancellor Glenn Hager. I think you're going to see heads roll in College Station. Some already have. I don't know how many professors they fired, but it won't take long. And then the thing is, the Welsh guy, the president of the university, is getting praise from Hager right now. Way to act swiftly. The problem is he's the next head that needs to be lopped off.
He did act swiftly. Typically, those types of things don't happen that quickly.
Yeah, well,
in
Texas
higher ed.
A&M, whoop, whoop. They can do that.
Andrew Alvarez says it's sad that Speaker Mike Johnson called for a moment of silence on the House floor yesterday, and Democrats shouted no. They didn't honor that. The New York Yankees had a moment of silence to honor Charlie Kirk.
The Democrats in no, that's not for us. The Democrats, that's just a blind call there.
You think? I don't know. We gotta.
Hey, we're trying to do
try it and see.
We're trying to do a radio show here.
Well, I don't know.
They leave us?
There's nobody there. Yeah, that's on my number.
Oh,
that's one of those like solicitation calls.
Yeah, okay, it wasn't the 894 number. Okay, good to know.
But yeah, let's take a quick break.
Yeah,
let's take a break and remind folks, Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Get out to Palace Bingo, have a good time. You just
25th-ish, last week of September, probably.
Yeah, that's right before my birthday. That'd be a great time for y'all to all come and bring cupcakes.
Yep.
Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends.
He won't eat any of them, Dawn.
Of course
it's
not.
fine.
No, I'll knock the icing.
He'll smell the icing.
Yeah. You've seen that deal, right? What you do is you take the cupcake and you break the cake off and you put it on top and then you
eat it like a sandwich.
Yeah. It's good. It's genius. USA Cody's like, duh, you just learned that.
Been doing that for years.
I learned that after the first 2 dozen.
How do you think I type?
USA Concrete Coatings, 578 home. Let Charlie Garcia come out and give you a quote to put down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't
crack, stick, peel, or fade.
Amen. You've got it down. Veracruz Restaurant. We're going to get to our unbelievable evening last night. Veracruz.
Thank you.
Was the icing on the cake. What a fantastic catered meal they provided. And Veracruz is just outrageously great people. And we highly recommend that you get in and have the best Mexican food in town. The queso, and the people were like drinking it out of a straw. So good. Allen's Record Service, 578-6300. Allen's is your go-to toe-to. Reach out to them. The Dollar Floor Store. For all your flooring needs, it's pretty simple. It's in the name. You need tile, you need hardwood, you need laminate, you need luxury vinyl, you need waterproof industrial flooring. Reach out to the Dollar Floor Store.
Got it all.
White Trash Services. Great time for you to sign up, get a free trash can, and or have a dumpster delivered to your home. They can deliver a dumpster on Friday, pick it up on Monday or Tuesday. You've got all weekend to acquire illegal alien labor, pay them a substandard wage with no withholding, and let them load your dumpster. And then they'll scatter when the white trash truck comes back to pick up the dumpster. It's brilliant. It's American. That's what you should do. Call White Trash Services for all your trash-tastic opportunities.
$16.99 a pound Angus ribeyes at the chopping block.
That's a good
on
deal.
Sale this week. That's a great deal.
That ribeye for $16.99 a pound. That's typically at chopping block. That is one steak is about a pound. Dawn and I will buy 2 steaks. And Commander, I don't know if a man like you's ever witnessed this, but it was always my bent.
2 steaks? Yeah, I'm good.
I would put a ribeye on the pit.
That's a snack.
And I would take.
I call that Tuesday afternoon.
I would take. I want it rare.
Tuesday.
I want it rare.
Nope.
But I would take a 1 pound steak. I'm a little bit ashamed now. And I would grill it, and then I'd have a steak, and Dawn would have a steak, and then half of hers would go back in the fridge. And what we started doing is buying 2 steaks, and then when they're done, after they rest, slice them. And you'd be amazed how I'll go in there.
How little steak you actually eat?
I'm still going to eat a whole. I'm going to eat all I want. And at the end, but me, Dawn, and both boys have eaten off 2 big steaks.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
What was I supposed to be watching for?
Well, have you ever noticed that if you slice the meat, as opposed to just going
putting it on the plate,
putting the steak on the plate, then you feel obligated to eat the whole thing, and you're not even really that hungry.
Wait, you're supposed to put your steak on a plate?
Yeah. See, he just and in theory, you cook it for a few minutes.
Huh.
What a waste of protein.
You don't just knock its horns off, wipe its butt, and put it on the plate.
Slap it on the butt, and walk it by the table. I'll eat it. Protein. Is that Canadian? Protein. Poutine.
Protein.
Cheese curds. See, Yeah, poutine leads to cheese curds with me. Which
That's
leads
what it
to,
is.
Is that what
With
it
The
is?
bathroom.
With brown gravy,
No, that poutine that'll clog you up. Yeah, that'll shut you
cheese
down.
gravy, and fries.
I think you have to have the gravy to go with the curds. Otherwise, it'll lock
it
you up.
melts because the gravy melts the curds on the cheese.
Is that
Helps
right?
to melt the cheese on the. Yeah, it's so good.
What is a curd?
A chunk of cheese.
It's a cheese byproduct, I believe.
A byproduct,
Yeah.
like click and treat and prim.
You notice that on your tuffet?
They're all
Eating your curds and whey?
byproducts in
I always
Canada.
wondered. I'm assuming that's of British origin. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Little Miss Muffet
I think basically it's porridge with cheese on it.
sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey.
Yeah.
Along came a spider. Sat down beside her.
Well, that's the show, folks.
Scared
Frightened Miss Muffet away.
Frightened Miss
Let's
Muffet.
cue the music. Call it done.
It's good stuff. It took some people back there. Barbara Brazil, what'd she say? I think they will find this is a paid professional hit by ex-military. Watching hit was terrible. Definitely, yeah, no doubt. Perfect kill shot. He was wearing a vest. I want to
talked with some folks who know this stuff, and that's where you go to shoot is in the neck. I did not watch the video.
I chose.
I had enough friends to tell me that it was horrific. Some people were watching the event live when it happened.
Dawn made the comment she had to see it. I mean, not that she wanted. She said, I had to see it. It popped up on my screen, and I was basically forced to see it. She said it was terrible. I didn't want to see it.
Good luck, Joel Gomez. He's at the 9/11 climb in San Antonio. Joel's been doing this
for
ever
years.
since they began this climb.
Never forget.
Nope.
Yeah, I do hope. We've actually had a real easing of. I'm not into. I don't want to hate any group, but the radicalized Islamic community, radicalized, not the peaceful, which makes them the peaceful backslidden Islamic community, but the radicalized Islamic community does not need to be forgotten. They still need to be eliminated. Is what needs to happen.
Well, but they won't, because they're too busy protesting on their behalf and in support of Hamas.
Yeah,
the radicalized. This is the danger of any religion when you take it to the extremes. And this is how they have controlled Iran, Iraq, Hamas, and Gaza, and the Palestinian people. They have taken Islam, turned it Afghanistan and the Taliban, and they've completely turned it on its ear to control the people and to try to control the world. They view everybody who's not them as an infidel, including other Muslims who don't believe the way they believe. They do not believe in women's rights. The irony of protests on campuses like Princeton in favor of Hamas isn't lost on me and shouldn't be lost on anybody who's at an institution of higher education where these things are going on. But this is because these institutions indoctrinate their students into believing that Hamas and the Palestinians in Gaza who continue to vote for Hamas, who voted them in, who don't uprise against them, are the victims.
You got to live the logic of. We say it here, or I say it here all the time. Don't mess with the Jews. You've got to love the logic of the Jews that said Trump got Hamas leaders into Qatar to talk about peace, and some Mossad guy goes, "Hey, that'd be a pretty good time to kill them all. They're all going to be in one place." Pretty smart and worked. And very effective. I think we'll find out somewhere down the road that Trump kind of gave Netanyahu a high five and said, here's where they're going to be. Yeah, Pete Strauss, wonder why your leftist followers are not posting anything this morning. Are they secretly celebrating? I don't think so. I don't. I don't believe a Victoria leftist is really just somebody, it's somebody of means who just feels guilty about being of means, and they're on the back patio at the country club feeling terrible about everything. Like, could I have another Chateaubriand for two? And I feel so terrible about being white and wealthy. That's who our local left is.
And I want to help the homeless, so let's move them 15 minutes
let's
out
put
of
'em out
town where they
there,
can't
and
do
then,
it.
and of
Can't
course
get to
hate
anything.
Trump. But they're not pro-violence. Our leftists are really weak in this community, and that's why they're not posting.
Well, and there's 6 of them. So,
Well, the hateful eight. I call them the hateful.
oh, that's
eight.
right, 8. Sorry.
Yeah, but Israel has defended their actions in Qatar by saying it's no different than you folks in America going after Saddam Hussein. And that's, Roy Gutierrez adds, there's quite a few in Victoria celebrating. I tell you what, I'd love for him to come up and talk to me about it. I'd have some fun celebrating on their dome. If that's your goal, is to celebrate death that was senseless, then
Death simply because somebody disagrees or has a differing viewpoint than you, you've got some serious problems.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't know how to, I'll let you say what you want to say as well. I don't know how to lead into this, except to say we had a wonderful, for me, it was quite a moving evening last night. Ash and I had the idea a while back to celebrate Bill Posey, who's, is the Victoria County Republican chair. He's the Republican county chair here in Victoria. But we know Bill as a Navy SEAL, as a lifetime soldier, and to be able
back to fight at the age of 56.
Yeah, how about this, folks? At the age of 56, Bill Posey had to take the PT, the physical training class. He had to pass that in order to go back to like active duty. So he just
post
did
9/11. Yeah, he did.
He went overseas. At the age of 56, he was in good enough shape was still a Navy SEAL. That's who he is, who he was. And I don't know, it was a moving evening for me to have a group of friends and a group of men in a room where everywhere I looked, honest to goodness, everywhere I looked, I felt like that. I want to be like that guy. That guy's better than me. Everywhere I looked, I felt like there were great people in the room, and I don't, and I'm not insecure. That doesn't happen to me very often. That I look around a room and go, man, what a great group and in my case, it was a great group of friends. And Bill Posey did not in any form disappoint. The room was quiet. Did you notice that? Just people were just in awe listening to his life story. Peter McNally says, why would you say that? I don't know what Peter's talking about.
I don't either.
You have to give us a subject, Pete.
It was the steak.
No.
He was talking about the steak.
Judge Posey says, very appropriate evening in view of the events yesterday and 9/11. He says, obviously, I've known Bill's life story a long time, but it never gets old. Impressive group of attendees. Thanks to all involved. Yes, sir.
And I didn't know he was named after his uncle who died in World War II on a mission over the Mediterranean, was shot down and never found.
Yeah.
Had no idea. But just an amazing life, an amazing story. Really brought into context a lot of what was going on in the 60s when he decided to go and become a SEAL, and others decided not to.
But just when you hear him talk about that, part of the training was we walked 200 miles that week with a boat on our heads. And we get up in the mornings and we go swim for 4 hours and like in the ocean for 4 hours. They talked about getting in and out of missions and we would sneak back into the water and then swim to the ship Well, the ship wasn't like right there. Just swim to the ship, no problem. You just, all in a day's work. He talked about being close to, it was during the Apollo mission. Was it during the
Apollo
Apollo
12.
his hand? And he said, yeah, I could have sworn that I just cut 2 of my fingers off. And I looked and well, they were just numb. The feeling came back after a couple of weeks. And he just casually mentioned that he had no feeling in his fingers for, a couple of weeks. No big deal. There's no, I didn't die. It's like,
That'd
did you die?
have been the time to start building a fence to
Yeah.
hold those nails. Because if you miss with that hammer,
That's like,
there
that
were
would
no
be
nail
Billy's,
guns back then.
that'd be Billy's life motto. But did you die? Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. No,
So
it was. And to think 9/11 spurred him back into action
yeah,
at the
just
age of 56.
A true patriot and a great, great gentleman and a dear friend. So I was very, very proud that we could pull that together.
Andrew Alvarez says someone was assassinated for their words. They were assassinated by the same group of people that call our president a fascist. That's what we talked about at the start of the show. That irony is not lost on me. The accusations from the left are showing and telling you who they are.
Oh, no doubt.
And we have pointed that out for years on this show. They deflect. Andy Rokovich says, go read what Glenn and Nickel wrote on Woodrow Wigner's page. It's beyond disgusting. Yeah, I don't know her.
I don't know her. Might make her famous.
Renee Medding, I've blocked and deleted people, reported people for what they've posted on Facebook. Stephanie Connie says she's blocked some people and she never does that. I don't either. So I don't know what Peter McNally's talking to. He's going to probably tell us to move on because Charlie Kirk, the topic's getting old.
Yeah. Good morning, Mom.
For that one. Morning, Mom.
Hola, madre.
Let's see what Glenna and Nickel. I don't know Glenna and Nickel. Glenna, get ready to be famous. She says, and where was the outcry when the Minnesota speaker was killed in her home along with her husband? Where were you and all the other people who are now saying prayers to the Kirk family? We have to show empathy towards this guy who gave no one else empathy. Nah, I won't be sad about it. Wow.
Charlie Kirk was probably more full of empathy than anybody. He actually tried to understand why people had the feelings or the viewpoints they did. And then with education and logic, tried to help them understand why their viewpoints in a lot of cases were misguided. I didn't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said. A lot of it.
Well, he's kind of, he was much better at it than us.
Yeah.
But he's a lot like us. You have to throw some stuff on the wall to see what sticks, but he was consistent and a gentleman. I mean, he was not a, Glenna lives here. She went to A&M Kingsville. She's from Victoria. She's married to a Daniel Foytek. So there you have it. She's not your friend. Just saying.
So there's 9 of them.
Yeah, 9. She's part of the hateful
Nasty 9.
The nasty 9.
But I don't think she's old.
A sinful 6. No, that's exactly it. Heather Stewart says Kirk was a danger to many because he had the ear of the younger generation. It was making a difference. That is the problem. Yep. Charlie Kirk has been credited for swinging the younger voters, Republican, or at least to get them out of the Democrat Party and to go independent, to start thinking for themselves. That was the danger of Charlie Kirk to the left and why they had to eliminate him. Don't think this. And here's the narrative that will be spun. And this is not. I don't believe this is the case. Oh, this was, he wasn't a fan shooting a gun in the air randomly in a celebration of Charlie Kirk being on the Utah Valley University campus in Orem, Utah.
If you didn't hear this, this is, there you go. Glenna runs the League of Women Voters. That may tell you all you need to know. MSNBC had a professional, it's like saying that the Athletics are still professional ball players. They may not be winning, but they're professional ball players. MSNBC had a reporter say, well, we don't know anything at this point. We don't know who did what. We don't know if this was maybe a celebratory gunfire from a fan that, like insinuating that somebody just fired a gun in the air, like, woohoo, Charlie Kirk, boom, boom, and hit him in the neck.
That bullet ain't going to have that trajectory from what I
Come
understand.
on.
Well, and the other thing the leftists were quick to do, well, we don't know who did the shooting.
Yeah.
Well, we know it ain't going to be somebody who supports Charlie Kirk.
Right. Callie Frommy says, by the way, the league purports itself to be bipartisan. Make a note that the head of that snake is extremely leftist.
Johnny Houghton says the MSNBC analyst that made that comment was fired.
And should be, right? I mean, can you imagine if in 1968 somebody would have said, well, we don't know that Martin Luther King was assassinated. I mean, what if somebody just
fired a gun in celebration of him being in Memphis,
him being in the ghetto, and he was hit in the head? By the way, a lot of similarities maybe between Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk, both outspoken, both very opinionated, neither elected,
neither called for violence. They tried to change the world through their words.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, MLK's legacy obviously will remain bigger. That's not a judgment. I'm just ranking them. I'm saying I'm not trying to equate.
But the
Charlie
parallels
Kirk
there in why they were killed, because they were feared for what they said and what change they were bringing about.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Just by reading that though on Woodrow Wilson Wagner's page, you can, and knowing him the way we know him, you can see why he's not affiliated with the Democrat Party any longer.
Alyssa Hansen says he didn't call people stupid, Charlie Kirk. He didn't. He just asked questions and let them hang themselves and look stupid. Absolutely. We've done that here. We've given people enough rope.
If the left talks to you long enough, they expose themselves every time, because at the very least, they will get into a deep, deep hypocritical position.
I think where the leftists miscalculated on this one, I don't think they've realized if they would have done this maybe in 2016, they might have had a chance to do what they were trying to achieve, and that is to shut up the right or people that don't agree with them. But when they try to take out Trump twice, when you had a transgender nut job shoot up a church full of kids simply because they were being taught the word of God, then you have this. They miscalculated grossly in this case in trying to think this would shut up those that disagree with the leftists, the socialists, the fascists, those that want to take away your rights and limit your civil liberties. They miscalculated big, because this is not having the effect that they thought it would. They were hoping this would shut us up. I believe this will embolden those who to speak out and up against those and call out the lies and the gaslighting and the deflection.
Linda Chris says it just goes to prove you have to fight back.
And you can fight back in ways that don't match what they've done.
Yes.
Right. I did not expect this. Some people were thinking, well, no surprise here. Well, you know what? In this country, we've tried to assassinate presidents. I can't think of an ideologue since you brought it up, Martin Luther King, who was killed simply for speaking and talking a truth and trying to affect change through their words. And this got me to think, or it really reflected back to a poem in Flanders Fields written by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae that I usually read every Veterans Day / Remembrance Day, because there's a line in there that really resonates with me this morning. That's actually 3 lines, but I'll read it to you anyway. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. The torch has been passed from Charlie Kirk to many others.
Oh,
It ain't just going to one person. It ain't just coming to Wade and Carter.
my 17-year-old son, Caden, who is, if I made a list of things, insatiable, lazy, super smart, it would go a long way before I got to political. He's not political. We never talk politics. Leo, quit calling me. And we never talk politics. And he came in and said, Dad, did you see what happened to Charlie Kirk? And I think you're going to see a revival, a turning to conservative values when they see a young person being killed simply for sharing his thoughts. How many times do teenagers get frustrated because we shut them down? Just hush. Go. Your mom said do it. Go do it. And now they're like, hey, man, I can relate to that guy. And I'm going down the road. I'm peeling back the onion a little bit. Yes, we're all upset that Charlie Kirk got shot. But what happens now? What happens now is I think you're going to see a resurgence of youth. You know, it's not lost on me that Charlie Kirk was also publicly unashamed and was privately very much a man of faith. And I mean, I think the ramifications of this, the left has opened a can of worms that's going to haunt the left. I believe so. He was to a degree, a better version of Donald Trump. No scandal, married to one woman, had 2 beautiful children, only 31 years old. Can you imagine if a person like that were allowed to be around another decade where he's like early 40s?
Well,
and
that might have been the fear because there was talk that he might have been a running mate for J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it would have made perfect sense. Patrick Strauss says, how about pray for Charlie's family? The left's trying to start a civil war. I agree, but Patrick, I mean, humbly, the left can't win a civil war. It's not North versus South. It's pissed off rednecks against the soft left, the soft white underbelly of Pat Talley. I'm not, it's not a fair fight. The blue-haired, purple-streaked, eating a little gummy and going to protest when the weather's conducive. I'm not afraid of those people.
The left gets more upset when somebody in Hollywood passes who's done nothing but fake it through their whole life, making movies and playing parts.
Right. Tom Cruise is 5'0". I'm not afraid of Tom Cruise. Just not.
But people are genuinely saddened by the loss of Charlie Kirk because he is real.
And I'll be honest. I mean, I knew who Charlie was. I feel like I know. You could give me a quote and I would say, yeah, he agrees with that, or no, he doesn't. But I was in no form a fan. I've never listened to his podcast. To be honest, I thought he was a politician. I thought he ran a PAC. And
Turning Point USA, which I think was more an organization. I don't know if they ran it. They had some huge gatherings in Washington, D.C. and things for young conservatives.
That's right.
But again, if you're an open, I would even skew. He's probably further. He's probably more in a lot of ways was more libertarian than he was a Republican.
Jonathan Williams with a solid point. If Charlie Kirk was a liberal, cities would be on fire right now.
Well, they would have already been burning if the killing in Charlotte was reversed in the races of how it happened.
Oh, yeah. If a white guy in a red hoodie would have stabbed a black woman on a bus or a train. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd have burned Charlotte down.
I mean, from what I understand yesterday, his videos on YouTube were just being streamed in the millions.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Sugar, I saw a quote up here. Get to it here.
You're going to quote.
They made a martyr of him. Let his name remain the battle cry for the youth to follow reason and religion.
Amen. I think that's what you're going to see happen. And you have to know everything happens for a reason. I mean, that's what's interesting. Everything happens for a reason. You're seeing a resurgence of the right in this country. You're seeing the
pendulum always swings in politics, and it seems we've gotten a little further left than we've ever gotten, and it's going to start coming back, whether we get to all the way to the right or as far right as we've gone left. I don't know.
James Kerr says it wasn't just an attack on Charlie. It was an attack on our collective values as conservatives. And if I'm honest or self-aware, I'm more militant than Charlie. I'm more verbally abusive than Charlie. So if you look at a guy, and so is James Kerr, by the way, much less patient than Charlie. If you look at the guy who's saying, well, let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. Very interesting.
Scott Bazar says, my 12-year-old at OLV got in the car and said, did you see what those MFers did to Charlie Kirk? He reached younger kids more than they thought, generations to come, future voters. That's what scared the left. He was making a difference where they have held court since the 1970s on college campuses, where they have been brainwashing our youth. He was hitting him in the underbelly of the dragon. Absolutely. And starting to slay that dragon. And they couldn't stand it, and they took him out.
Folks, just be aware that we're very, very blessed to have quality sponsors. We mentioned White Trash, we mentioned Chopping Block and everybody. But, folks like Wentz Services, Atzenhofer, the Atzenhofer dealerships, Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe, Chestnut Furniture, collectively, those businesses have been around, close to 300 years. Think about that. And I'd rather than say, hey, go buy some furniture, just be thankful for people like Bobby Leon and his family who are willing to help promote this format where we can have civil discussions. We don't always have to agree. And they went and Atzenhofer and all of it and White Trash, they essentially are an extension of the ideas of a guy like Charlie Kirk. They allow us to invite you to have that civil discussion. And obviously we could not be here without the sponsorships that we're very fortunate to have. So hats off to them today. And never forget, businesses like Went and Atzenhofer and Chestnut, they've been through, Atzenhofer and Chestnut went through World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, 9/11, the Carter administration. They've been through all the debacles.
4 terms of FDR.
They've been through it all and are still here because of hard work and commitment and the people of Victoria. So hats off to our city. And,
and they didn't waver. They didn't blow in the wind with whatever the latest fad trend. They stuck to the values of hard work and delivering what they deliver to the people of this region for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. John Anderson, thank you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in so faithfully. He's in the Carolinas. He's got a head start. I mean, it's almost 9 o'clock over there.
Yeah, real quick, First State Bank Astros update. Astros win 3-2. Pena with a home run in the 9th to give him the win. Abreu bounces back, gets the save, holds on, gets the save for the Astros. They remain a game up on the Mariners because the Mariners won. They've won 5 in a row. The Rangers keeping pace. They've won 4 straight. It's going to be a fun September. The last couple weeks of September.
It is. We're down to maybe 16 games left, something like that. The Astros. I'm wearing an Astros shirt. I'm certainly 100% supporting my Astros. I just don't think that they can cobble together a World Series run this year.
I think it'll be tough. I really do.
Too many injuries. Too many people hurt.
Luis
Patrick
Garcia
Strauss
put
says
on
that
the injured
Diaz,
list. Or it was Diaz.
Yiner
Yeah,
Diaz.
thank you.
It was a Yiner bomb.
Yeah.
Folks, we love you. Hey, you see one of your friends today, tell them you love them. You know, life is short. Life is unpredictable. And have a great day. Don't take it anymore.
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it.